It is the playoffs, so welcome for the NBA playoffs. If you're here for the Stanley Cup playoffs, you're in the wrong place because we won't be talking about that at all. My friend Sean, how are you, sir?
Man, I am amazing, man. It's great.
Yeah,
How are you? I got on one of my favorite Dunkers t-shirt, if you can see that. Little Dominique Wilkins.
Who still gets utterly disrespected for what he's done in the dunk contest and in his career, I think. Sean, man, I gotta tell you, man, I loved this week for so many different things. I think you and I were talking about the playoffs and how you make your name in it.
Sure.
Because we were talking about SGA, we're talking about how he has the 2 MVPs, and then you and I looked up the other people who are multiple MVP winners, and it's a short list. You got Kareem, you got Magic, you got Bird, you got Jordan. You got Steve Nash. You got some names up there, and we were just like, wow. I mean, I guess the numbers, work. But I just found it interesting that a lot of players really think that the regular season is enough to cement your legacy, and it's just not. The regular season is for casuals. The playoffs are for us. You know what I'm saying, Sean?
Absolutely agree. Regular season is just a precursor to the real season. So oftentimes you hear people players say it's 2 seasons. You got the regular season, and ironically, SGA said something very profound. He said, I think the interviewer or reporter asked him, like, what do you have to do next year to get back to this place and to overcome what happened? And he said, we basically have to go into training camp. We have to go over the summer, think about what we did. And it's going to take us, he says, I really don't know. It's going to take us 82 games. And he says, I believe, and I'm paraphrasing, I can't exact quotes, but it's going to take us 82 games to figure out what we need to do to get past that. And that's what it is. The 82 games is to figure out your identity, how you're going to win basketball games, when things happen that don't go your way,
Get
how
a
do
rhythm.
you respond?
Get your
Get a
rotations.
rhythm.
Mhm.
Exactly. Get your rotations and to stay healthy
Stay
within
healthy.
all of that.
And to your point too, Sean, I mean, we're not just talking about OKC yet, guys. We're going to go into OKC versus the Spurs, and then the Spurs versus Knicks matchup. That's going to be fantastic. But before we go to that, it's just really interesting that I think sometimes also people forget that your coach is learning too in the regular season. Your coach
Absolutely.
is figuring out his rotations. He's figuring out what spots to put you in. How long can someone be played? Specifically, if we're looking at the Spurs, it took them all year to figure out Wemby's minutes. How long can they play this guy? How much rest does he need? Which is a whole different thing. Shout out to the NBA Today and NBA.com for saying this. I think it was one of the ex-players was like, you guys don't realize if a guy is 7'4" or 7'6", his wind and his ability to stay on the floor is very different from a 6'2" guard. You can't just
Very
run
true.
him 40 minutes a game. You're going to run him into the ground. So you have to rest him at certain times. So there's just a certain rotation. There's things that coaches learn too in the regular season that they can apply in the postseason.
And to add to that too, it's the physical abuse that a 7'4" or even just a 7-footer is going to take. The guards don't get as much, even though it's a physical game in the playoffs. We know it gets the physicality gets ratcheted up, but they're not taking the necessary abuse, if you will, the pounding, the grabbing, the holding that a 7-footer would.
Yeah.
As you could see, in the series, just every series, the bigs are down there grabbing, pushing, holding, trying to jockey for position, for rebounding position, post up position. So you do have to, to your point, you do have to manage the minutes, especially for someone like Wemby, who's gotten stronger, but very slight, if you will.
Yeah.
In NBA terms, he's
and
just
all
kinda
that
slight,
happens in the
so.
regular season.
Sure.
Figuring out. I remember watching the Bulls championship runs, the Laker championship runs. Powell and Kobe figuring out screen roll and how they wanted to play it. It takes a lot of games to figure out that on court chemistry. It doesn't just generate it. You don't just push a button and it just happens. So by the time you do get to the playoffs, that you have some sort of semblance of, okay, this is what our team is. This is our rotation. Our coach knows what we're doing. And we saw that in spades from the Spurs last night.
Right. Absolutely. And shout out to, like you said, to your point with the coaches. The coaches have to develop those game plans,
Yeah.
learn when to play. How are you going to play your backups? Are you going to give them enough time to be in situations? During a regular season game in February, when you're playing the Charlotte Hornets and it's the end of the game and your big's in foul trouble, are you going to play the big, or are you just going to say, you know what? Are you going to play the backup big, or are you going to say, you know what, we're just going to trust our starter to not get in foul trouble? What are you going to do? Because that situation arises in the playoffs. So shout out to the coaches. They really have a lot to do and to figure out. And that's why the best coaches, often they get scapegoated, but that's why they make it to the championship games, because they're great at what they do.
And that's the importance of the regular season. So let's jump right to it, Sean. Last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder at home took the fattest L on court, losing to the San Antonio Spurs. They dethroned the champs on the road. The San Antonio Spurs stunned OKC in a 111-103 loss on OKC's home floor. Sean, we all watched this game. I think any of my friends, I don't know anybody who was rooting for OKC. Everybody was looking for the Spurs to win because no one wanted to see Flop City for the NBA Finals. Give me some of your takeaways for how the Spurs had such a gigantic task accomplished on the road.
Well, the main thing that was impressive for me is that they're such a young team. Their longest, one of their vets, Harrison Barnes, didn't really play a lot. So it was basically youth and inexperience. And even when they made mistakes, I mean, Stephon Castle, first two games of the series, averaged 11 turnovers. But he was
in 2 games?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But he was unwavering. He was still, coming back at Shai. He was equally on the offensive end as he was defensively. Just their young players, they had no fear. And that's impressive because typically, first year, second year players don't do that. Third year players don't have that killer instinct, that poise that you would need in such a high level playoff game.
I don't mean to cut you off. Let me redirect the question.
Sure.
Because you and I can find a myriad of things that they did right. What do you think was the one most important thing the Spurs did? Because I know what mine is, and I want to hear yours. What was the one most important thing they did to get this win there? Like, if you can point to one thing.
Honestly, it was to stay poised in their defense. They stayed poised when OKC made the run. Those are the defending world champs. They knew they were going to make a run, and every time they made a run, they didn't panic. They had an answer. They ran their sets. They went to their best plays, went to their best players, and they stayed together. So the one major thing is just they stayed together and stayed poised. It was amazing to watch. We actually watched that team. They literally grew up in that one game, but they grew up in the series, but they literally became big boys and grown-ups in that game.
Yeah,
so that was the thing for me.
Okay.
So
that's everything you said is correct. I can't even disagree with you. I think the most important thing with my eyes that I saw was the complete lack of fear that the Spurs had in challenging OKC. A lot of teams would go, we're playing the champs, and in the back of your head, you're like, we're playing the champs. You have a little bit of fear. You and I text each other back and forth. They don't give a F about OKC, and they played like it.
Not at all.
To someone who didn't know about basketball, you wouldn't think that they were playing the champs. They just said, "We don't care who you are. We don't care." And that's what got me so hyped. Like, you got to show me. Yeah, we're from the show me time. You're not just walking into the gym and going bust me up because you say you played at XYZ. I don't care. You got to show me.
Right.
And that's why I was screaming, running around the house, losing my mind, is they didn't care who they were. That's what I liked.
Right. And that's what I love as well. I love that as well. And you're not wrong. I think we're both right. Two things can be true. Mm-hmm. They just didn't give a F, like you said, about OKC. And that's what playoff basketball is all about. It's really, let's lace them up and see who's better. We got 7 games to win 4. Let's see who's going to be better. and as far as, I mean, from A to Z, from coaching, training staff to get the players prepared, to the players on the floor, to the 12th man. Let's see who's better, and that's what we love about basketball. That's what we love about it, the competition. That's the essence of it. And so you're not wrong. No fear, and why should they be fear? Hey,
Why should they be?
I know, yeah, I know the two-time MVP, but he puts his pants one leg at a time, like I do.
Yeah,
So
what
forget him.
what he eat don't make me, crap. I don't.
Yeah.
Yo, you got to do it. You got to show me, dog. And as I said on social, run the tape. We said it here. We thought, Spurs in 7, especially when given a normal whistle, and we saw that last night. The refs weren't crazy with it. They missed a couple calls, but that can be expected. Overall, you saw SGA flopping about. You saw people falling down, and the refs just looking at him like, "What are you falling down for?" And I think that's what people hated the most when. And I know I want to hear your take on this. I wasn't really expected to see a tidal wave against OKC like this. Like, nobody wanted them to win outside of people who lived in Oklahoma. Like, nobody wanted it. It was weird. I'm a Warrior fan, and I'm rooting for the Spurs like I've been a Spurs fan my whole life.
Hey, likewise, I'm a Lakers fan, and so I would never root for the Spurs or OKC for that matter. But I was really rooting against OKC. But here's the thing: people won't admit it, but here's I come to the conclusion that I wasn't mad at OKC. OKC's a great team. I wish my team had the depth and the players that they have. They're a great team, and they're very good at what they do. We are mad because they were able to get away with the things that they were doing. They can't listen. We saw that officiated game last night that was probably the best of the series. And you saw San Antonio was the better team. We said that. We text back and forth. We felt like San Antonio was the better team, especially with Wembanyama there, that alien. They were the better team. They didn't fear them. And you get a normal whistle, even though I think the Spurs did shoot more free throws in the series as a whole, but that doesn't tell you the whole story. But it's just the way the league was allowing, and they still allowed Shai to push. They still allowed him to jump and take his normal shots and then just fall and then get those calls. That's the part that we were mad at. So it's not that we hate Shai. We hate that the refs let him get away with it. It's just like it's like the kid in school.
Yeah.
You go in and the teacher looks and says, he may have cheated, but you know what? He did his best. He's getting an A. Here I am pulling my hair out, trying to get a great grade and study. And, I don't get the benefit of the doubt. You give me a C. How come he gets an A and I get a C? And he cheated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of that, yeah.
It's different factors, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why in my opinion, that's why nobody will ever admit it, but that's why we hate OKC. Because if OKC wasn't getting those whistles like that throughout the season, and we all want to talk about foul baiting, if the refs don't call it and they're still winning, we don't hate them. But they're calling it and they're getting wins because of it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's
there's SGA falling around. Lou Dort takes a dive on every on-ball screen, which was driving me crazy. Like, you can't fall down every time. Like, maybe sometimes, but every time. And then,
Right.
Chet Holmgren, who pulled a full-blown Casper and didn't even show up for the game. Chet Holmgren had 4 points, while Champagnie on the Spurs side had 6 3-pointers. Like, if you're Chet Holmgren, I know you texted me something brilliant, so I'll let you say it here. If you're Chet Holmgren, man, and you're an NBA first teamer or second team NBA, I believe he was this year, and your output for Game 7 is 4 points, bro, you soft, B. That makes you look like a fake, bro. You fake. You a fugazi, bro. I can't.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but he is. I mean, and here's what I said, for the ladies and gentlemen out there that are watching. Chet Holmgren in this series literally made himself tradable. OKC.
Yikes.
Yes, OKC, and he's a first or second team All NBA. He just made himself tradable. He put himself on the trading block, and here's why. Here's a guy that's your stature, pretty much. Everybody's out there saying, hey, he's the next, he's going to be the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Everybody's putting this on Wemby's back. You have an opportunity, even if you fail against him, even if you lose, which they did, if you go out there and you give him buckets, say like, okay, this is going to be a rivalry, everybody gets excited. You folded, bro. You folded like fresh laundry on a Saturday. You see what I'm saying? You folded. You didn't give me anything with the exception of a couple of games. And that's unfortunate. And I think Shai even said it in the press conference. We need Chet. And so Chet's got to have, this is one of those summers where it could really make you or break you. He's got to go look in the man in the mirror. We talk about Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah,
Got to
yeah.
make that change. He's got to look at himself in the mirror and say, okay, what am I going to do? You know,
To
am I
shoot
going
two
to
shots, Sean? Come on, man.
Yeah, and he
I
didn't
don't know a
even want to
game.
shoot.
I don't even know a game in my histories if I've ever shot 2 shots in my whole life.
Oh,
2 shots,
me
bro?
neither. Listen, I'll go if I'm not shooting well. I could go get at least 2 shots off offensive rebounds. Come on, talk to me about it. I mean, if I'm not shooting well, and you know me, I'm known as a shooter. I can shoot the thing, but if I'm not shooting well, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna stop shooting.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
going to at least give you more than 2-3 shots. That's crazy. And even Reggie Miller was saying, hey, go at him. He didn't want to. He looked shook out there. So
The game 7, bro.
this is his summer.
Yeah.
It's either redemption or now you're going to, you're going to be tossed around like a salad.
Oof. Pause.
Pause. But I'm saying he's going to, it's facts. He's going to get traded because he can't be that player. So this is a big summer for Chet. He's got to figure it out because by the time they get to, I mark my words, by the time they get to the All-Star break next season, if he's not playing well, and especially in the games against Wemby, whether Wemby wins the championship or not, if he's not playing well, they're looking to trade him because we can't use you because that's the team we got to beat.
No,
Doesn't matter if you play well against anybody
I hear
else.
what you're saying. We can't spend
Doesn't
too much
matter.
time on a guy who gave you 4 points who's supposed to have done at least a double-double.
I just had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry.
Jeez, the tossing salads is wild. But
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just
no, don't apologize. I love it.
it.
Tossed like a salad.
I'm just saying he's going to be tossed around like a salad. He is. He's
I
gonna-
get it.
Team
I
to
get
team if he doesn't get it together.
Yikes.
It's
Body
honest
to
opinion.
body is wild.
Pause.
But I will say this. And people may not agree with me. Yesterday, May 30th, 2026 is the official start date of the Wemby era. You and I had been talking about the possible start of the Wemby era. Is it coming? We have videos. Is it coming? Is he, me and you were like, maybe next year, they'll find a way through. They were like, we ain't waiting on nobody. It's officially the Wemby era now. And what I mean by that is the meta is going to change. Teams are going to start making sure they have a big that's serviceable, that has long arms, and that can help block shots or guard this guy, especially if you're in the Western Conference. And I just wanted to say that to make sure that that's heard loud and proud.
I have a time to rebut that.
Go ahead, sir.
So I would disagree.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
here's why.
Yeah.
Here's why. Eras don't start until you win a championship, in my opinion. Eras don't start until you win a championship. We're looking at, yes, the tide is changing, it's shifting. It's leaning towards Wemby and finding that type of player. But until you win that championship, you can't say it's officially his era. So if they win, boom, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But if they don't, you don't know. It's just like we used to talk about the Warriors, right? We said, when the Warriors were going through their first title run, everybody, they're shooting too many threes. They can't win.
Yeah.
When they did, it became the Steph Curry shooting threes from 30-foot era, and then everybody changed over.
That's fair.
So
And it's also a beautiful silver platter segue into the second segment of this podcast, which is now we got Spurs versus the Knicks. Spurs versus the Knicks is going to be all anyone's talking about for the next few days until they play. Everyone is saying, oh, well, the Spurs are just going to run over New York. And on paper, it may look that way. I don't think it's going to be... I happen to not think it's going to be easy work. I think this is going to go 6 games, the series. I haven't decided who to pick yet. Maybe by the end of the show I will. But this New York Knicks team is not just sitting around waiting to take an L. Like they're not, bro. And if you beat this team in a game, they don't fold. I've watched the Knicks. What was the game? They were down 26 something points and came back to win that game. It was crazy. That was
against the Cavs, wasn't it? Weren't they down like
Cavs.
22?
Yeah, and
this game 1.
So I mean,
it was game 1.
You know, I foresee Wemby being guarded by what's his name? Who's the big for New York? By Cat. And I think that, you know, the guards are going to be guarded. I foresee Castle guarding the New York point guard. I don't see it just being Brunson. I don't see just a layup and walk through the park for the Spurs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's gonna. I think you know, it's funny we think alike. I'm thinking 6 games as well. If it goes 7, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm thinking 6 games of course. And I don't know yet either. Although I'm kind of, it's weird. My gut's telling me, man, Knicks may pull it out. And you know, I'll give you my ideology on that. It's just that, like you said, the Knicks don't quit. They are now severe underdogs, and they have nothing to lose, you know. And you and I talked about it. The hardest thing to do is beat a team that has nothing to lose, that has fight. It's the hardest thing.
It's the hardest thing in the world. It's the hardest thing in the world. I mean, they got the Mitchell Robinson problem because he has a broke finger. I think that's going to play into Wemby is okay. That's fair. Wemby is still a problem that there is no solution to. If you keep him outside the paint, that's great. He can smack threes. If he mixes you up inside, he causes problems. This guy's a problem. So unless, and you know, Mike Brown's a hell of a coach now. You know, Sacramento threw him aside, and now he's in the finals. Which, well, maybe you should have waited, but that's a whole other conversation. But this Knicks team is going to be tough, and so are the Spurs. And I would say I'm very happy that these two teams are playing, because I feel like we're getting the best of each conference here. Like, we are getting our best. Like, thank God OKC's gone. We're going to see the Spurs. We're going to see New York. It's going to be huge television ratings. The NBA should be overjoyed about this.
Absolutely. And we're going back to 1999. You know, that's
take us there.
Like Prince said. Yeah. So these teams met. Spurs 1-5 back then. That was the start of the Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich era. That was the first of their 5 championships. So I was actually rooting for this matchup, because I remember 1999. That was a lockout season. You know, strike shortened. I think they only played 50 games that season or something like that. But it was great basketball. It was great for New York for them to get there, and I think them being there now is huge. But the key to this series for me is I think if Karl Anthony Towns can stay out of foul trouble, because putting Mitchell Robinson on him is not. I think Cat can match him offense for offense. Defensively, of course, you can't guard Wemby, but Cat can pose problems too. And you know, and
Cat's never backed down from anyone. Cat's not going to fry like Chet.
So, Cat's going at you. I mean, Cat's going to do whatever he needs to do. But that's the key. That's one of the keys, is just him staying out of foul trouble. But the other one is OG Anunoby for the Knicks. If he plays well, the Knicks got a great shot, because even though they've got some great defenders over there, I think he poses a problem for them, because he's not quite your 2 guard but he's not quite your 4. He's
Yeah.
in between, but he's physical. He can shoot the 3, he can get to the rim. So those are the things that that I look forward to. But man, watching the Spurs, it's hard not to have them favored. It really is. And after I watch Game 1 on Wednesday, when we come back, when we can reconvene next week, I'll give you after one game, I'll be able to tell you what I'm feeling. So, but right now, I'm kind of leaning toward the Knicks. So,
I mean, right now, if a gun to my head, I'm leaning towards the Spurs. Just because they have so many guards that play defense. I can't recall in my brain the last time I saw a team that was this deep at the guard forward position that could play D. You got Harper, Champagnie, Vassell, Castle. They all D up. They all lock up. But to your point, New York doesn't care. They keep coming. They're like the Terminator. They just keep coming until you're dead. So this is what we all wanted to see. We wanted to see 2 teams that don't care about your pedigree. Like, because New York's over there, you got to prove it to me. You got to show me, Playboy. You're 7-4. You're Wemby. You still got to show me. So I think this series is going to be closer than people anticipate. There's no way the Spurs are going to blow through New York in 4 games. And there's no way New York's going to blow through the Spurs in 4 games.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. It's gonna be a great series. And the great thing about it is we don't have the vitriol or the hatred like we had for OKC because of the flopping and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be very enjoyable to watch, and as long as the refs, do the right thing, call the game, call a really good game, and don't call it out of BS. It's going to be a great series. I'm totally looking forward to it, and I'll be either way, whoever wins, I'll be fine with it because we'll get the best basketball. I really I think it would be huge for New York, just because they haven't won a championship in over 50 years. So I think that any championship for any organization is huge, but New York, do you know? Let's just talk a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
If New York wins this championship, wins the championship,
Yeah,
those guys on that team, they could do whatever they want in the city of New York and will get forgiven because I'm telling you, they will be gods among men if they win. They're already kings because they got to the finals. First time in 27 years.
Yeah.
But if they win, oh my God, I want that for them. I want that for Karl Anthony Towns.
Wow,
I
Sean,
want that for Jalen Brunson.
you're making such a great point. Okay, so I was born in New York, right?
Yep.
So there's a part of me as a native New Yorker would love to see the Knicks get a chip. The Knicks haven't gotten a championship since the 70s, right? So that would be huge. And I'm falling in love with Wemby. I love Wemby. I love Castle. I love these guys. I think I texted you the other day, man, I might get a Castle jersey just because the way he plays is so cutthroat. I love it. Bang on a kid, D up, hide your kids, hide your wives. He just goes at kids. I love it. So you said this is going to be a series of enjoyability. My brother in Christ, I don't remember the last time 2 teams played where I would be happy that either team won.
That's an absolute fact. So, but I loved Indiana. I love that they didn't care.
Yeah.
And Indiana did not give 2 craps about OKC. And if Halliburton doesn't get hurt, we say that. And I know if is always it's weird.
If he was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Yeah.
Absolutely. But Halliburton and those guys did not care. And they were right there to win that series. I think if he doesn't get hurt, I think we're not having this conversation.
I agree with this. I agree with this. I think that was a matter of I don't mind which team wins because neither the Lakers nor the Warriors were in it. If either of our teams are in it, it's a whole different conversation. My emotions get into it. My stress levels get high. I honestly can barely enjoy the game because of my stress levels. I think when the Celtics played the Warriors a few years back, you had to talk me off a ledge that whole series. So when you look at that, when you look at who's playing now, you have the Knicks. I'm a native New Yorker. They could win. I'd be like, yay, the Knicks won a chip. I love Wemby and Castle. Oh my God, this young team is budding into a championship contender every year now. It's like, I'm happy for either of these guys to go get themselves a W, you know?
Right. I feel the same way, man. I just, like I said, I love it for New York, because, like I said, I just love the energy of the players. They don't quit. And side note for Cat, like Cat went through so much, man, during the COVID era. He lost a lot of family members,
Yeah.
including his mother during
Jeez.
that. So for him to win a chance, for him to be in Minnesota, they discard him, don't want him,
Mhm.
trade him away, and for him to get to the finals and for him to win it would be great. But on the other hand, just like you said, I love Wemby. I love that he cares so much. I mean, he won a conference finals championship and he's emotional.
Yeah.
And people will look at that and go, God, he's what? I mean, it's just the conference finals, but you got to understand when basketball means so much to you, whatever you win, you're going to be emotional. You're going to
Yeah.
be excited. And this is his first time. And I'm sure 5 or 6 years down the road, and he's gotten
Won
a
his
couple of
fourth
conference
conference
championships.
championship.
Yeah, and he's won a couple of championships. Then maybe you could talk about him being so emotional because he's
Yeah.
if he's still emotional.
Mhm.
But I mean, this is the first one, and they're not supposed to be there, according to all the experts. They're
According
a
to
year away.
us, according to us, bro, I'm not gonna front. We're not always right. I was like, yo,
Right.
next year, I think the Spurs will be a problem. They said bump next year. What about now? Which is
Right now.
crazy.
Yeah. And they got to listen, they got a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds on the team. I think the
Under
oldest guy
contract.
on there is
Under contract,
Yeah.
by the way.
I think Harrison Barnes just turned 34 yesterday when they won. I mean, what are we talking about? And 34 is still, I mean, he's still in great shape. He could play another 2-3 years if they wanted to keep him, and they probably will. So this team is going to be good a long time. They're going to be making runs. And like I said, if they lose, not quite his era, but I mean, we're going to be watching him to, because he's going to get back.
Yeah.
But if they win, that would be the official stamp that it's the Wemby era for me.
What do you know about playing fully with house money? If the Spurs win, they're great. If they lose, they're great. Right? That brings a lot of pressure to New York City because it's like New York hasn't won in years. Here's your opportunity. And the Spurs are just like, hey, man, we're ahead of schedule. The plane has landed an hour before touchdown. We weren't supposed to be here,
But same for the Knicks. I think the Celtics were supposed to be there.
That's right. The Celtics were supposed to.
The Pistons were the number 1 seed. So the Knicks are playing with house money as well. They're not supposed to be there, although they have a little more pressure only because their championship window is very small. This is like next year, healthy Celtics team with a healthy Jason Tatum, healthy Pistons team, they're probably going to revamp. Even the Sixers, if they figure out what they're going to do, even though they got blown out of the water, they're still good. Orlando's coming. Indiana will be back because Halliburton will be better.
Yeah.
He'll be playing. So the Eastern Conference, these guys are coming back strong. So it's like New York's window is closing. You know what I mean? It's
I
very
hear you. But what's funny about this is that's a shifting puzzle in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. Sure.
But not on the West Coast.
I was just going to get to that.
Go ahead.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that. In the Western Conference, you really got 2 teams. Basically the Spurs, OKC. And for an honorable mention, just because I like him, I'll throw, two honorable mentions. Just because I like both of these players. I'll throw Denver in there, but they got to revamp. And I'll throw Minnesota in there because they got Ant-Man. So Jokic and Ant-Man get the honorable mention. But those 2 teams in the West, like I told you this too. What did I say to you about? I said, our 2 teams will never get to the conference finals or to the finals.
Cooked.
We're cooked.
I'm a realist of all things, even though I'm a fan. My Warriors are finito. Finito. Sean, we're running out of time here. Give me your call for the game. It doesn't matter if we're right or wrong. What do you got? What do you got for without
game 1
anything,
or for the series?
For the series. We're going to call it out just like we did last one.
It's crazy. Part of me is saying Knicks in 6, but I don't feel comfortable with that. So I'm going to go Spurs in 6.
I got Spurs in 6.
Yeah, I got Spurs in 6. I think
and the
Spurs
only
in 6,
reason is because there's no answer for Wemby. There's no answer for Wemby.
There's none. And just think about this before we go.
Yeah.
He hasn't even reached his offensive potential yet.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my God.
Or physical prowess yet. He's 28 is when you really start to fill out your body. He ain't even there yet.
Yeah. Defensively, he's the greatest. He'll be the greatest for the next 6-7 years.
Just lock in the next 10 years, defensive player of the year.
Yeah, as long as he stays healthy. But offensively, if his game gets better and he's already good, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. In my New York voice, forget about it.
Forget about it. Guys, it's the Beat the Best podcast. We got lots of more people watching the videos, Sean. We got in the thousands the other day. That was fantastic. People sharing our stuff, which we appreciate. For those that don't, lock in, subscribe, because we're going to be here and we don't talk about bullshit. We actually know the game. So, for Sean Watkins, this is Betamax84, and we'll catch you on the flip side.